stranger online knows more about me than he should. I was recently reminded of this story after telling it to some friends. This happened around 2011 when I was still in high school. At that time I really enjoyed PC gaming and eventually started getting into a specific MMORPG. I wasn't really good at it but wasn't playing to make friends or anything, only joining parties when absolutely necessary. For a few months I just logged on and played some quests and did the usual thing. Because it was so long ago, excuse that I can't remember all the game-specific terminology. Now if I remember correctly, the game worked as follows. Some areas like cities or towns were public spaces, so when there you would be able to interact with other people also currently there in their respective gameplay. If someone wasn't actually in your party, you would have no contact with them when entering into a private space outside. One day when moving about in one of the public areas, I was approached by another player, we'll call him Andrew, just chatting to me. He was friendly and I really didn't sense any red flags. It was a very standard interaction, but also probably one of my first that wasn't quest related. Andrew was friendly and offered to help me with whatever I needed to do in game next. At some point he just randomly asks whether I'm really a girl. My avatar was female, but my username didn't really offer any information relating to my gender. So I confirmed, albeit confused, that I am a girl. And that seemed to be it. We continued on from there, did the quest, and after adding him as a friend I logged off eventually. Everything seemed fine. A few days later I played again, and with what I assume must have been newfound confidence in my friend-making skills thanks to Andrew. I did a quest with some other people who offered to let me join their guild. I was sorta stoked because I've never had a guild offer before. So I immediately accept and join their guild. Even though it was tiny and unimportant, I was happy. The next day I log in and Andrew is also online. The game publicly showed your guild affiliation and he's immediately angry, I guess. He reprimands me that I shouldn't just join any guild and demands I leave the guild. Because he wanted me to join his guild instead. I'm very confused but feel like I've somehow betrayed my friend, so I do as he asked and accept his invitation to join his guild. Though I felt bad for just immediately dropping my previous guild, I do cheer up a bit when I note that Andrew's guild is rated insanely high. Next time I log in is where things start getting weird. Just to clarify, I had never exchanged any personal information with Andrew. All he knew about me is that I identify as female. Not only did I value my privacy in-game and had never exchanged personal information with anyone on there, I never posted on any public forum about the game, never joined a game-related group. And I hadn't even liked it on Facebook. As far as I know, there was no way to link me to my account, but I log in and Andrew greets me in the chat by my full name and surname. Now my username was not related to my actual name and I had never told him anything personal about myself, including my name and surname, so I was very confused. However, I assumed perhaps since I haven't been playing that long I just didn't totally understand all the mechanisms of the game and perhaps my name was available somewhere. His messages become weirder, more invasive and sexual. I remember him specifically saying, "I can't live not knowing what it feels like to touch your skin," followed by many messages of him speculating what I must feel and smell like. I log off and have no idea what to do. As stupid as I am, I decide to try and freak him out, so I do some snooping of my own. I remember all I did was look up the guild's Facebook group and I think he was one of the admins. He was the guild leader, I believe, so it wasn't so hard. At this point I didn't know his full name yet either, but it was easy to figure out. Let's say his username in-game was Ankru, just one letter off from the admin called Andrew. Next time I logged back into the game he was online as well. Once again he greets me by my full name and surname. I respond with the same since I now know what his name and surname is, however he is unfazed. He responds by asking me how things were in my neighborhood and at my school. By naming them both. He knows where I live, and where I go to school. I immediately logged off, uninstalled the game and have never been back. I still don't know how he got that information since it wasn't publicly available anywhere. I still have his full name and surname and checked his Facebook a while back out of sheer curiosity. He's a professor at a University of Science and Technology. Xbox Live Creep. Hello peeps. I am a long-time lurker, blah blah blah, first time posting, you know the story. So this happened a few months ago. I had just gotten Red Dead Redemption, awesome game, and while I was playing online I met this awesome guy named Rick. He's in like his 50s and is a retired firefighter. We played together for a while, helping me level up so that people wouldn't target a low-level player who is also a girl. After a while he introduces me to this guy named Black Wolf Angel or something like that. Black seemed cool at first. We would hang out on RDR shooting lots of bandits and doing gang hideouts. After a while we became somewhat good friends. He then started to lightly flirt with me every once in a while. I let it slide, being the kind person I am. I made it my goal to not get a so-called Xbox boyfriend, so I tended to avoid flirting on there. We would normally hang on in parties with Rick, but one time he invited me to a party and I'm like, oh okay, he and Rick want to play. But I was dead wrong. He started to flirt super heavily with me. I acted like I had to go, so I left. For weeks he would spam me with party invites and messages saying, hey sexy, and stuff like, I'm so horny. It finally got to the point where I was so sick of him, so when he invited me the last time, I answered, big mistake. He started with the usual flirting and I just said, look Black, I am not interested in any kind of relationship right now, so please lay off. He agreed and laid off for a few days. But then he broke the silence by sending me a message saying, I'm thinking of suicide cause of you. I flipped my shit and started to curse him out and telling him to never contact me again. I told Rick all about it and he told me he stopped talking to him a few days before for the same reason, so for a while everything was cool. But then I started to get phone calls and text messages saying the same shit he used to say. I answered one said call and told him to fuck off or he'll get the police. Thankfully he stopped after that. So Black from Xbox Live, let's never meet again, you creep. I've never met a female in CS:GO before. I was playing deathmatch with my internet best friend Derek at an ungodly time of night, just talking about our thoughts and morals over voice chat in lobby. The server had about 7 people in it and everyone would throw their 2 cents in with our conversation. It was pleasant and much needed. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Everyone was kind and respectful, something you hardly see on this game. One person had no microphone and only talked to us via chat. He told Derek and I've never wanted to be friends with someone over this game before, so badly. Will you guys add me? I promise I'll have a mic tomorrow. I was a lonely person back then. So I accepted his friend request. His name was Corey. Derek and I played CS:GO deathmatch nightly, just talking about all sorts of things. For 4 days straight, Corey would join us without invite. We found it odd he would join us, because he mentioned how strict he is with himself about being on a tight schedule and how dedicated he is for school. Because of this, we never invited him to our games, which funnily enough, Corey got upset that we didn't invite him to deathmatch, even though he told us he was focused on school and we only played late at night. One way or another, Corey got the impression Derek and I were dating, despite Derek talking about his girlfriend at least once a day. I told Corey yes, we are obviously dating, because a male and a female can never be just friends. My voice was as flat as I could make it sound, and as bland as I could try. Corey did not understand my sarcasm and ran with the thought of Derek and I dating. Immediately, Corey tried his best to win over Derek by buying him in-game valuables. Case keys, a few skins worth real money. Every time Corey would give Derek these things, Corey would tell him, you better be treating her right, otherwise you will pay for it. Derek is a nice guy and has a hard time with confrontation, so he never replied to those messages. He would only relay them back to me, after 2 days of getting these gifts. I told Corey while in deathmatch, you do realize I was sarcastic with you when you asked if Derek and I were dating, right? Derek has a girlfriend and she doesn't play video games. Corey's voice immediately goes into a much calmer voice during this game and does not stop saying, oh thank God, thank you Lord Almighty. You have blessed my life. Thank you. Random people would tell him to stop talking and he's being creepy. I didn't say anything to Corey for a while after that because despite being over the internet, I felt an awkward connection with him. The following day, day 7 of knowing Corey, he asks me to join him in a private game. I have immense anxiety with being alone with someone. No matter the circumstances. I simply tell Corey no thank you, but thanks for the offer. Corey tries to call me over voice, and I get a weird nervous feeling. I knew something was odd about this random voice call request. I check on his profile and he edited his entire profile to fit a 2008 emo MySpace account. He changed his picture from Harambe to rain on a window, and his bio went from I inject memes for Harambe to my life is meaningless without her. That was one of the most bizarre things I saw unfold in front of me over a video game. He explains to me that he wanted to play a private game with just me so he could plan a meetup with me and go get some coffee. He could tell where I lived because I told Derek and Corey about the Seattle superhero I ran into a while back. But that was only the beginning of the creepy things he would say to me. At one point he said, "Your voice makes me trust you." That made my skin crawl. Another time in the middle of a match he said in front of everyone, "Is your body as smooth as your voice? You sound like a goddess on cake." That made me almost vomit. A few more examples include, "You make me want to just snuggle up on my bed and go to sleep," in a cutesy tone, or saying teehee out loud instead of just laughing. But whenever he said something creepy I would just ignore it or awkwardly say, "Thanks my dude." It felt as if he practiced for hours just to say these lines to me, just unnatural. I knew this guy did not talk to any other females. Because he told me so. Girls in real life just find me creepy, and whenever I approach them, they ignore me. Is what he said, something I should have spotted as a red flag. One day, he tries to send out a call request that I ended up hitting ignore on. I message him and say, "What's up? Everything okay?" He only replies with "Not even close." I had no clue what to respond with, so I just waited for a follow-up message. 10 minutes pass by, and he spams me with personal questions. What kind of males are you into? Do you only date tall, skinny men? Do you care what other people think? I oddly feel guilty, and feel obligated to reply with honest answers. I tell him I care to an extent of what people look like. As long as they take care of themselves, I couldn't care less what my friends look like. I don't really have a unique type. I just want a healthy-looking guy, regardless of height. Why do you ask? He describes to me what he looks like, followed by a total of 10 photos. I never asked for a picture of him. It never crossed my mind to ask him what he looks like. He asks me all sorts of questions related to, am I attractive enough? Am I too skinny? Too short? Do I have good hair? I tell him, "You look nice." He was very skinny, average height, and looked like he took care of himself. A very normal-looking human being. He replies with, "Thanks, you're so sweet. Such a lovely girl." I don't message him back. And just launched CSGO because Derek was playing. We play our game of deathmatch and talk about the normal stuff. We make friendly talk with a complete stranger, and at the peak of it, Corey joins. Corey says nothing while we are all playing. I do not have notifications on when I play, so I have to manually check my messages while I'm in game. During map change, I realized I got flooded by Corey asking, "Do you find this guy attractive? Does he sound hot to you? Is he funnier than me?" I ignore his messages and keep playing. I did not want to deal with that from him. I only knew him for 2 weeks at this point. Corey notices I am ignoring his messages, and he confronts me in front of this server of 20 people. "Why aren't you replying back to me in Steam?" I tell him I don't have notification on. I'm too busy playing a game to want to hold a conversation while playing a game. Corey goes on this rant about, "I thought we were friends, why would you ignore me?" Friends don't ignore each other. And I don't respond to him. This is all over voice, so everyone can hear him. I'm clearly uncomfortable, and a random player tells Corey, "You're being kinda creepy, dude. She clearly doesn't want to respond to your weird messages." Corey screams at the top of his lungs at this guy to go kill yourself, "You useless human being, you don't know her like I do." And he promptly leaves.